this article yesterday, actually a post on YouTube, where it's saying that the WBA organization is ordering Armando Resendiz to take on Jaime Munguia for the vacant WBA title. The same title that was just vacated by retired all-time great Terrence Crawford. My thing is, man, the WBA is just as bad as the WBC, in my opinion. The WBC are known, they're notorious for clearing cheaters and then ordering them to fight title fights in the very next fight. I mean, literally, we've seen it with Ryan Garcia. You know, he can cheat, lose the fight, and then get ordered to face Mario Barrios for the WBC title. You know, this is the same organization that Eddie Hearn, Oscar De La Hoya, and some of these people are still getting on the front line to defend and say that, oh, we still need to pay these sanctioning fees, and, you know, we still need them in the sport and all this prestigious stuff. Now here's the WBA ordering Jaime Munguia and Armando Resendiz. They're in negotiations right now, and that fight could possibly happen this year, next, you know, within the next few months. But Jaime Munguia, in his last outing, failed his drug test so that he can win the rematch. Modern King, what's up, family? Failed the drug test, you know, did PEDs so that he can win the rematch after he was knocked out, brutally knocked out in his hometown, Mexico. And so, you know, he had to cheat to compete to get that dub. Shout out to Vada. Vada, you know, administered the drug test. Jaime Munguia failed. It should have been the end of it. The guy should have been removed from the rankings, and at best have him fight his way back into the rankings, you know, while being on this probationary period to prove that you can stay clean. Because it's not even been a full year since this guy cheated. But this is the sport of boxing, and this is how the organizations like to move. You know, it doesn't matter to them how dirty an athlete is. It's more about the popularity. You know, Ryan's popular, so they still want to capitalize off the popularity of Ryan. Jaime Munguia has a heavy Mexican fan base, so they want to capitalize on that fan base. They want to capitalize on that. You know? And then people want to still try to, like, you know, make an issue about Dana White and all these other people coming into the sport. How can you be mad when the people that have been part of the sport for the last, I don't know how many years, are doing nothing to improve it? You know, the messages that they've been sending to the boxing fans, you know, is that, look, we're going to be biased. We're going to do it the way we want to do it. We don't care about what the boxing fans want. We don't care about if it's fair. We don't care about if you like it. We're going to do what we want to do, and we're going to collect our percentages in the process. You know, since when did the governing body start running boxing? Since when was it about them and them dictating how this shit should go? You know, when did the boxing fans get completely X'd out the equation? You know, But it's been the same denominator, man. It's been these governing bodies, man. Whether it's the WBC, the WBA, you know, they're allowing a lot of the BS to take place. Therefore, you got MVP Promotions, you got Dana White with TKO, Turki Al-Sheikh made his power move into the sport, and many other people, man. It's just like it's up for grabs because they know that this shit ain't going nowhere, man. It's been the same old, you know. It ain't no fairness in none of these organizations. They're not gonna be, it's no equality, none of that, man. None of it. You know, Jaime Munguia getting a title shot, that's straight bias, man. How does he skip over the other contenders that were in line who stayed clean, who ain't failed no drug tests, and who's been fighting their way to get an opportunity at a title shot? Jaime's had many opportunities at title shots. Many. So it's not like this is his, you know, he been waiting for a long time and never got his chance. He's had his chance, man. He's failed. He's failed in a lot of areas, man. He failed to win a title. He failed his drug test. He's a fucking failure, in my opinion. And I don't understand why the WBA wants to reward a failure. That's the thing about it. We in a society where they are applauding the failures. These dudes be underachievers, man. Cheaters. Dudes can get knocked out. And they get rewarded still. Big paydays, you know. Jaime Munguia is going to get in there with Armando Resendiz. He's going to get a payday. He's getting a title shot. He's going to raise up his popularity. He's going to fight on a big platform to get the exposure. Why are we rewarding losers and cheaters? I don't get that shit, man. Actually, I kind of do. You know, once again, it goes back to the bias. You know, when there's a certain group of people that's not winning, now you got to make exceptions. Now you got to start, you know, creating more opportunities for them to win when they just keep failing. Some of these fools are just not good. They're not good enough. And it's sad that these organizations, man, just can't be fair. Allow the people that should get their opportunity at these world titles, these vacant world titles, let them fight. Don't allow the guy who just cheated to get in there and retarded shit, man. Retarded shit. Hey, man, get the governing bodies out of here, bro. WBA, WBC, you know, and it's unfortunate because the WBO and the IBF is halfway decent, but you got these other idiots, organizations, that's fucking it up for them. So it just make you look at it like, man, get rid of all of them. Or do we need to go back to three belt or undisputed, or two? You know, make it two. WBO and the IBF and the Ring Magazine for undisputed. That way we can cut the garbage out, man. We got to get rid of the problem in order to get to the solutions, man. The problem is the WBC and the WBA, man. They have caused more problems than all of them. You know, and it sucks that the rest of them gotta be followers. They gotta follow after the lead of Mauricio Suleiman, seem like. And it's sad that you got these fraudulent, opportunist promoters that know that these motherfuckers are corrupt. You know, all y'all that's catching this shit, y'all know that organizations are corrupt, bro. Y'all know that they bias. You know that these rankings is trash. You know that they discriminating, clearing cheaters and shit, just so their countrymen can make it and get opportunities. Y'all know this shit is going on. But you got powerful, celebrity figure promoters like Eddie Hearn, who want to be sellouts, Oscar De La Hoya, just fake as hell, man. And it's crazy because I used to like Eddie Hearn. I used to like, how De La Hoya was keeping it real on his clapback Thursdays or whatever the shit is. And then as soon as Bud flames the shit out of governing bodies, now your shit ain't even hot no more. Nobody even care about that shit. That shit was supposed to be fun. Clapback Thursdays or whatever. You went on there and at this rant at Bud Crawford looking like a sad man. Bud, what are you doing, Bud? These governing bodies. Man, that shit is sad, bro. Get rid of your whole show, man. You was doing all right at first. You was flaming shit. You was making people laugh. It was entertaining. Until you try to come at the all-time great Bud Crawford to defend these goofy-ass motherfuckers who is destroying the sport. Unbelievable, man. So with that being said, man, Jaime Munguia is gonna get his shot with Armando Resendiz, and Resendiz deserves his shot. I saw that Caleb Plant fight. Jose said, what's going on? I ain't really been on boxing like that. Whole lot of bullshit. Whole lot of bullshit. Still the bullshit of the governing bodies trying to run shit and put people in positions that don't need to be there, like Jaime. Jaime is a sissy, and he needs steroids to compete with the top level contenders and shit. And hopefully they don't allow him to cheat in this fight versus Armando, man. I'm rooting for Armando Resendiz. I never root for a cheater. Resendiz beat Caleb Plant fair and square, whooped his ass, and put himself in a position to fight for the WBA world title. Not Jaime. Jaime was in the motherfucking WBC, and it was the WBC who cleared him of all wrongdoing, not the doping agencies. And now the WBA was want to catch lobs from the WBC to position this man to fight for a world title. Fuck out of here, man. What's up, Juan? QT said WBA try to make Jake Paul a belt. Oh yeah, definitely get rid of them. WBA and the WBC, man, they're the worst, man. They're the worst. And if you out here defending them, go ahead and unsub, man. I told y'all before, man. I ain't thirsty. I don't lust for none of that shit, man. Fame and subs and shit. If you want to rock with me, rock with me. But I'm telling you right now, if you still support this WBC, WBA shit, go ahead and move around, man. Go somewhere else with that. I don't support corruption. I don't support cheating. I don't support discrimination. I support a fair fight. A fair fade. WBC and WBA don't want that. They don't want fair fights. They want the fighters that they have favoritism for to have advantages. So, disgusting work, man. Get rid of them. So, yeah, man, just when I thought it was all about the WBC who deserved this flame, throw WBA in there too, man. Throw their ass in the dumpster flame and get rid of them. We're only down to two organizations that I can say, you know what? Maybe they should hang around for a little while longer. And that's the IBF and the WBO. Other than that, fuck the WBC and fuck the WBA, man. It's been long overdue, man, for the sport to move on without y'all. And the thing about it is, y'all will still have y'all place. I'm sure there is a whole roster of boxers that will still want to fight for the WBC and the WBA. You know? But it's just time for the sport to move in a whole different direction. They don't need to be part of the Riyadh season. Of course, they're not going to be part of the TKO, you know? And the ones that still want to support that, let them support that. You know, you can be a WBC champion, but ain't no undisputed for you. You can be a WBA champion, but ain't no undisputed for you. How about we keep the WBO, the IBF, we can upgrade the IBO if need be, and the Ring Magazine. That's 4 belts, man. WBA, IBF, IBO, Ring Magazine. Undisputed. Let's subtract and subtraction and addition, fam. Subtract 2, add 2. But enough is enough, man. Enough is enough. I don't know how many years I have been flaming the shit out of these governing bodies, man. You know, hopefully it will come to a day where we ain't even got to do this no more, because the sport is finally smartened up, which I think that starting this year, 2026, and going forward, we're moving on without them, and rightfully so. Jaime, hopefully you get your ass whooped. Best of luck to you, Armando Resendiz. Hopefully some body testing taking place, because the guy that you about to fight for this world title, he's a bitch. He's a cheater. And hopefully they don't trick you out your spot, man. Because these governing bodies got agendas, man. So that's really all I got for this. Shout out to Ill Status, homie. Shout out to Ill Status Boxing, who pulled up too. Shout out to Juan, QT, Modern King, Jose, and everybody that caught the playback. I am the Black Horseman. Shout out to the True Media Movement, man. That's everybody that keeps it real, stays true to who they are, and does their part to flame these motherfucking cheaters, does their part to bring this real content, and keep it a stack always, man. I'm out, homie.